Well, not to belabor the point, but I think that, as I said yesterday in the conference call, was really pleased with the way our team played in the second half of the game. A lot of things that we didn't execute very well in the first half, and those things are all correctable things that we're going to address today with the players and try to clean up so that we don't have those issues in the future. So, we're really excited about Cam Robinson winning the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. You have our Players of the Week, from last week. But this game is really where our focus is. It's the SEC Championship game, which is one of the most competitive, sort of environments that I've actually had the opportunity to play in against a very good Florida team who has great tradition and history. Both of the teams in this game have tradition and history in this game. So, and this is the 25th championship game. And as I said yesterday, to have Coach Spurrier and Coach Stallings there who played in the first championship game is really sort of something special. But I think Florida, Coach McElwain, Jim, has done a really good job in his time there. They've gotten better and better each year, and certainly won games this year that they needed to win so that they'd have this opportunity. And they have a great defensive team, one of the best defensive teams in the country, a very good man-to-man team in the back end, very dominant front seven in terms of their down guys up front, ability to rush, play on the line of scrimmage. Offensively, they've tried to create great balance with their team this year and ability to run the ball, and they've had a couple backs that have both contributed to that. But I think Antonio Callaway and Brandon Powell, the two receivers that they have, are certainly guys that they want to get the ball to that have ability to make explosive plays, and when they've been able to do that, they've been very effective on offense. Always very good on special teams. They have really good specialists, whether it's returners, punter, kicker. They're all very effective and very good. So this is a very challenging game for us.
We'll start here in the second row with John Zener.
I had two questions, if I could. One, Damian Harris said after the game that if anybody says Alabama can afford to win this game, they just hadn't played, lose this game, they haven't played sports. Do you expect, it's a big game obviously, but do you also expect kind of competitive fire that you can't that won't let that mindset creep in?
Well, that's certainly not the mindset that we want. This is a big game for us. It's an opportunity to win the SEC championship, which to me is a very, very significant accomplishment. And we hold that in very high esteem, having the ability to do that, having the opportunity to do it, having the ability to play for it, and to think that, you all put everything about the playoffs, man. That's all you care about. You don't care about any bowl games. You don't care about any teams in the country that aren't in the playoffs. I don't know if we don't win this game. Maybe we throw a stink bomb out there. Maybe we don't get in the playoffs. I don't know. You guys got all the answers to all that, but I don't. All right. All I know is if we play and we play well, we control our own destiny in terms of what we do. So I'd really rather not have any more questions about, is it okay to lose this game? It's never okay to lose a game.
And I wanted to ask about Jalen. He's done.
You should have asked that first.
Okay. How much we obviously know he's done a lot of great things this year, but how dedicated is he kind of to improving every week and learning from negative plays and everything?
Look, I don't think anybody on the team wants to play better at his position than Jalen Hurt. He wants to do well. You're still talking about a guy that's a freshman. You can't really coach experience. There's some things that guys just have to learn by doing, and sometimes the best way to learn it is when you make mistakes. And he would probably be the first to tell you he made a couple of mistakes in the first half, and he'll learn from those and he'll get better. But he's very dedicated. He meets extra. He tries to prepare well for the games. But sometimes when things don't happen out there on the field exactly like he expects them to, that's experience. That's how do you react and respond when things like that happen. So, we're pleased with the progress that he's made. We got a lot of faith, trust, and confidence in him, and we're going to keep working with him to try to get him to improve, to minimize, those things so that he can continue to play better.
Come over here with Aaron.
Auburn matched up Carl Lawson a lot on Jonah Williams. He shut him out. I just wonder what you thought of his play this year. He seems to have played beyond his years.
Jonas played very well for us all year long, and I thought that both tackles really played well in the last game. I thought our offensive line, even though we had trouble blocking Montravius at times inside, who was a really, really good player, did a really good job in this game, especially in the second half. We started to, finish things a little bit better and be able to run the ball a little bit better, which, when that happens, it takes a little bit off the quarterback, which is really a good thing for us.
Back with Cecil.
Coach, you had to adjust the secondary on the fly when Tony was ejected from the game. How did the guys respond? How did you sort of do that? And could you talk about some of the younger players back there's development?
Well, when Tony went out, we moved Minka back in, and Hootie's the next guy up at safety, who's played a lot, all year in dime and, some in nickel. So Minka just has a hard time being able to practice safety and star too, which he hasn't been able to do a lot of, but his experience allowed him to do it, and he did a very good job, and those guys did a good job. And we ended up playing 6 defensive backs. That's where we get a little bit, somebody that we put in the game does not have a lot of experience. But Deontay Thompson did a good job for what he had to do in the game, and did a good job of executing what he was supposed to do and communicated well. And we didn't have any, real mistakes that were costly, in that circumstance. And Marlon went out, Levi Wallace went in the game and did a good job as well. Had a couple coverage opportunities where he did a nice job of covering the guy. So, I was pleased with the way those guys stepped up.
Come back over here to Tony.
In your opinion, what's behind your success in stopping the big plays on defense, limiting big plays from the line of scrimmage?
Well, you could say we eliminated the big play runs in the last game, but they hit a couple big play passes on us, and I think we always want to eliminate those because, big plays are something that, if you don't give up big plays and you're hard to score against in the red area, then, it makes it more difficult for the other team. They have to sustain. But a couple times Auburn was able to move the ball on us last week. We did give up big plays, and that's something that we always harp on. And some tough play action passes because we were playing to stop the run, but we have to do a better job of responding to those. And we're going to see some of the same types of things this week. So our players are going to have to do a good job in that regard, recognize and read and run pass, especially off the hard play action pass.
Back here to Dennis.
Nick, you've got 3 players on defense that I can count that are up for national awards this year. It's kind of an anomaly out there, but why don't you think Alabama's ever won a National Defensive Player of the Year award?
I really can't answer that. I haven't given a lot of thought. I really can't answer it. We've had some really good defensive players here that I think we had somebody win the Butkus, but I think we have some very deserving guys on our team that have been very productive, and they've been really good team players this year, whether it's, Jonathan Allen, Reuben Foster, Brian Anderson. I mean, all those guys have played extremely well for us and they've had great production. Hard for me to compare their performance to other players because I don't see them play all the time. But I know those guys have done as much for our team as just about anyone could expect. And I think whether it's recognizing awards or whatever it is, that's pretty much all you can expect from a guy.
Do you feel like a parent who's asked to choose their favorite child? It's like I love all of them equally. If somebody asked you who your best player is, you'd be hard-pressed, I guess.
Well, it was kind of hard-pressed for me to just say those 3 guys, based on what some of the other guys have done to contribute as well. So I think we take a lot of pride here in playing team defense, and I think that our guys do not take chances and do things to try to make plays that actually can give up plays. And I think that, all of them have quite a bit of respect for each other, and I certainly feel the same way about that. And as a coach, you just want to try to give them the best opportunity to put them in the best position so they can make plays and have production, and hopefully, that'll be the case moving forward.
Up front here with Dwayne.
Coach, Sean Dion is second on the team in tackles. Did you expect him to have this kind of season going in?
We have a lot of confidence in Sean Dion Hamilton. He's a good player. He's very instinctive. He's one of those guys you can certainly depend on to make the right choice, the right decision, be in the right place relative to what his responsibility is. And it's not surprising to me that he's had the production that he's had. You guys always ask me these expectation questions. I don't really have expectations. I don't go into the year thinking, well, if this guy makes this many tackles, those are results. My goal for players is, can we get him to play as well as they can play, put them in the right positions, and get them to be disciplined to do their job. And Sean Dion's probably done it as well as anybody on our defense.
Right here with Mark.
I just want to ask what you've seen from Florida's secondary, particularly their two corners in Tabor and Wilson.
Well, they're very good. Their entire defense is very good, but their two corners, they play a lot of man-to-man, and those guys have done a really good job of shutting people, down and limiting options that you have. And but they have, good players at safety, and they do a good job of rushing. So, this is a really, really good defensive team, and we're going to have to do a great job against them.
Come over here to Ben.
You've had a couple of games recently where the offense was kind of able to burn a lot of clock at the end to kind of grind the game down. Do you feel like your 4-minute offense, your ball control offense is one of your strengths?
Well, it certainly was in a couple games this year, and it certainly was Saturday to take 9 minutes off the clock and 61 yards. I think that's what you want to be able to do so that you minimize the opportunities that the other team gets to be able to come back on you in the game. And I think that was an outstanding job by our offense, and very good plan offensively as well to be able to get that done.
Last two, Ken and then Alex.
Saw a little bit of everything from our Darius Stewart again. Would you talk about his role on the offense, not just on the field, but off of it as well?
Well, our Darius is a very competitive guy, and we certainly want to get him the ball and get him touches in the game because he will make plays. And I think, in his last game especially, he was very, very productive. We also want to do the same with Calvin Ridley. And our Darius has, I think, sets a great example with his competitive spirit in terms of how he goes about, what he does as a football player. And we certainly have a lot of respect, faith, trust, and confidence in him. What you don't see is what a great job he does blocking and the toughness that he plays with and the competitive spirit that he has. So I have a tremendous amount of respect for that guy as a competitor.
Finish up right here.
Just two quick ones. You said yesterday on teleconference you hadn't spoke to the trainers about Marlon. You have an update on him yet?
Yeah, he's probably going to take it easy with him for today for at least a little while and kind of see how it goes. But we're hopeful that he'll be able to practice some later in the week and be okay for the game.